I'm Nalaja. Today, we're going to read and think about a book called The Great Pumpkin Growing Contest. While we read the book, I will make the book pages bigger so you can see the illustrations more easily, but you'll still be able to hear my voice. And as I'm reading today, when you see a new page of the book, I will pause so you can look more closely at the illustrations. As you listen to me read the book, notice what you're thinking about the story. Here we go. The title of this book is called The Great Pumpkin Growing Contest. It is written by Kerry Shanahan. It is illustrated by Ian Force. In this story, there are three brothers: the smallest brother, the middle brother, and the biggest brother. They enter a pumpkin growing contest held by the king. But there's a problem. The smallest brother ends up doing all the work. Does that remind you of any other stories you know? Hmm, it reminds me a little of the little red hen, when the animals wouldn't help the little red hen, and Cinderella, when the stepsisters wouldn't help Cinderella. I wonder if it will be like those stories. Here on the title page, you see the title and the author and illustrator's names again. As I read, you will see a box appear around the part of the book I'm reading like this: The Great Pumpkin Growing Contest. The box disappears after I finish reading the words on a page of the book. Look at the illustration that Ian Force drew for the title page. Does this illustration fit what are thinking about stories like The Little Red Hen and Cinderella? Those stories are traditional tales, and a bag of gold seems like something that might be in those kinds of stories, doesn't it? Let's read to find out. Once there were three brothers who loved pumpkins. The king loved pumpkins too. One day, the king said, "I will give a bag of gold to whoever can grow the biggest pumpkin." "We can grow pumpkins," said the biggest brother. "Yes," said the middle brother, "we can win the bag of gold." "It is lots of work to grow pumpkins," said the smallest brother, "but we will try." So they got some pumpkin seeds. Let's pause for a second. So we have the biggest brother, the middle brother, and the smallest brother. So the biggest and the middle brothers are thinking about gold, and the smallest brother is thinking about how much work it is to grow pumpkins. Hmm, what are you thinking now? Let's read on to see what happens next. "We must plant the seeds," said the smallest brother. "Not now," said the biggest brother. "We have too much to do," said the middle brother. So the smallest brother planted the seeds all by himself. He dug some holes and he put a seed in each hole. We must water the seeds, said the smallest brother. Later, said the biggest brother. We have too much to do, said the middle brother. So the smallest brother watered the seeds all by himself. He watered the seeds every day. Then the plants began to grow. They grew and grew. Soon, tiny pumpkins were growing on the plants. Some weeds grew next to the pumpkins. We must pull out the weeds, said the smallest brother. Not now, said the biggest brother. We have too much to do, said the middle brother. So the smallest brother pulled out the weeds all by himself. This is sounding a lot like a traditional tale, isn't it? What are you thinking will happen in the story? Let's read to see if your prediction happens. The pumpkins grew bigger and bigger. I will take the biggest pumpkin to the king, said the smallest brother. The king looked at every pumpkin. Then he looked at the smallest brother's pumpkin. Who grew this pumpkin? Said the king. I did, said the smallest brother. It is the biggest and best pumpkin, said the king. This bag of gold is for you. I will help you spend the gold, said the biggest brother. I will help you spend the gold too, said the middle brother. Not now, said the smallest brother. I have too much to do. Did this story end like you predicted? I figured the smallest brother would win the contest, and then those brothers would want to share in his prize. That's what happens in traditional tales, isn't it? Figuring out what kind of story we are reading helps us make predictions about what might happen in the story. That helps us understand the story more easily. If you'd like to hear this story again, just start the video over. See what you notice when you read it again that you didn't notice the first time we read the story. Thanks for reading and thinking with me.